September 1991, high in the Ötzi Alps on the border of Austria and Italy. Two German hikers, Helmut and Erika Simon, strayed from the path and made a discovery that would rewrite history. Melting out of a glacier was a human body. At first, they assumed it was a fellow mountaineer who had met a tragic end. The truth was far more incredible. The man in the ice hadn't died last year or last decade. He had died 5,300 years ago. He was named Ötzi the Iceman, and he was a scientific miracle. The ice had preserved him so perfectly that scientists could study his clothes, his tools, his tattoos, and even his last meal. He was a priceless treasure, a direct link to the Copper Age. But this treasure came with two terrifying secrets. The first was discovered a decade later through a modern X-ray. An arrowhead was lodged deep in his left shoulder. He hadn't simply frozen to death in a storm. He had been shot from behind and had likely bled to death. Otzi was the victim of the world's oldest cold case, a 5,000-year-old murder. But as scientists celebrated this discovery, a second, darker secret began to emerge: a modern curse. The body count began with Rainer Henn, the forensic pathologist who had personally bagged Otzi's body. He died in a horrific head-on car crash while on his way to give a lecture about the Iceman. A tragic accident. Then came Kurt Fritz, the mountaineer who had led Henn to the body. He was the only person in his experienced climbing group to be struck and killed by an avalanche in a region he knew well. A terrible piece of bad luck. Then the curse came for the discoverer himself. In 2004, Helmut Simon, the hiker who first found Ötzi, went missing during a blizzard in the very same mountain range. His body was found weeks later, frozen in ice, in a pose eerily similar to the Iceman he had discovered 13 years prior. The pattern grew more chilling. Dieter Warnke, the head of the mountain rescue team that found Helmut Simon's body, died of a massive heart attack less than an hour after Simon's funeral. The list went on. Researchers, journalists, anyone who got too close seemed to fall victim to freak accidents and sudden illnesses. The most prominent skeptic was Professor Konrad Spindler, the world's leading expert on the Iceman, who often joked, "I think it's a load of rubbish. The next person to die should be me." A few months later, he passed away from complications of multiple sclerosis. At least 7 deaths, all linked by one frozen ancient man. Of course, science demands skepticism. These were men who lived high-risk lives as mountaineers and traveled frequently. Over a span of more than a decade, it's statistically plausible that some people in a large research group would pass away. But can statistics explain the chilling specifics, the timing, the locations? Was it all just a string of macabre coincidences, amplified by a sensationalist press? Or did the hikers in 1991 awaken a troubled spirit from its icy slumber? A murder victim lashing out at those who disturbed his rest? We may never know, but the legend of the Iceman's curse serves as a terrifying reminder that some secrets and some bodies are better left frozen in time.